Buying a plot can be easy or maybe a tedious task sometimes, especially when you have so many real estate companies, agents, landowners, and even sometimes so-called landlords all calling to buy their properties. Getting the land is the easiest part, but owning the land with genuine documentation is the problem. We have seen unprecedented court cases of people going to court to settle land issues. If you're looking to buy a plot or a build home with no risk of stress, guys, look for the right real estate company. At EJ Investments, we don't just sell plots, we build communities, where any plot you buy from us comes with access to water, electricity, internal roads, and other social amenities. We guarantee you genuine contract documentations the moment you pay a deposit and a complete handover of your title deeds as soon as completing payment. We currently operate 3 projects in strategic locations, selling service plots and build homes in our estate 2 Jering Seafront, Sanyang Seaview Estate, and our Gunjur C4 Coastal Highway Estate. Our plots are affordable. From only $90,000, you can own a home at our Gunjur C4 Coastal Highway Estate. And from $200,000, you can own a home of your dream at our Sanyang Seaview and Lakeview Estate. Our 2 Jering Seafront Estate starts from $300,000. Plot sizes ranges from 20 by 20, 20 by 25, and 25 by 25. And we offer an option of 30% deposit and 2-year payment plans on our estates. A beautiful home with peaceful and happy neighborhood awaits you at our project 2 Jering Seafront Estate, Sanyang Seaview and Lakeview Estate and Gunjur C4 Coastal Highway Estate. Call our office on 4464838 or 3021056, which is also on WhatsApp. Email us or visit our website on ejinvestments.net to learn more about our projects. EJ Investments, we're fast in property.
It's another beautiful Saturday, and this is the brunch here on Fatou with me, Joy Wama. And of course, it is a festive season, so I wouldn't do you just if I don't wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance from Fatou to you. And of course, you know how we do every other brunch show. I'll first of all take you with the lineup of the show today. We'll be having the introduction of our panelists and the schedule, and of course our very own Lamin Cham would also take us through the newspaper review and so forth. But before much ado, I'll allow my panelists welcome you. Lamin Cham?
Yeah, good day. Welcome everybody.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here after a week absence.
Yes, it has been a while that we have not been on the brunch show. So Lamin, we know we have had a lot of trending information over the week, and our viewers have been yearning for this moment. What do you have for us today?
Thank you very much and welcome back. Well, in the newspaper review, of course, we take it where we left the last time, and that is the Congress, National Congress for the Political Parties. We were in Buyam, where the APRC announced an even more glorified loyalty to former President JAMMEH. That proved to be a controversial decision. Victim Center, members of the Victim for Human Rights Violations said they have an answer to that. They're going to seek a resolution from the UN banning the APRC because they feel very bad each time JAMMEH's name is mentioned. Not to talk about him coming to lead a political party. For them, that is a non-starter. We were also, of course, we had the president, we were in Basel, well, actually, were we there? No, but the newspapers were, where President Barrow laid the foundation stone for major projects in URR. But was it followed by a political, what people consider a political rally to introduce and even more seal his ambition to be a presidential candidate in the next election? We will ask, because there have been many commentaries about that. And of course, the fallout from the 2019 budget, the controversy surrounding the supplementary appropriation bill, etc., are all in the news.
Interesting. Well, I know that over the time, most of our viewers, in fact, not just the viewers, the country at large, have been very interested in the new budget. I would like you to elaborate more on that.
Well, you know, the budget had always been an issue, subject of criticism, not just from the MPs, but a large number of people, including civic society organizations and individual Gambians who felt that the budget 2019 is not a good budget, because they believe certain allocations were made, for example, to the presidency, $600 million. Some people said even the budget allocated for defense is so huge. When the most problematic areas, we are more important, like health and other issues, employment and other social issues, are under-budgeted. They've got less money than these two. And they believe that all the money that's going to be in this budget is going to end up in the pockets of officials who are going to be paid for going to their office or for traveling on our behalf. So a lot of money is going to pockets of people rather than going into solve the everyday daily challenges of life of the ordinary people.
What do you think that's the case?
From whom the money comes from. That's the 2019 budget. Then, as if that is just not a big problem, then they come the supplementary appropriation bill, the SAP, now very well known as SAP. And the controversy surrounds that one, according to the law, it shouldn't have been that colossal. It should have been 1% of the overall budget, but 6% of it was what was presented. And the National Assembly members felt that was illegal. And they also come to a compromise. They reduced it now to half, and that was passed. But then, for the very first time, we saw a lot of dissenting views and rejection from National Assembly members, which were very interesting. Some were not expected to be on the side of no, and some who were on the yes were not also expected to be. So it definitely generated a lot of democratic debate. And then they feel that the money that's been given to the Ministry of Defense, 600 million, does not reflect, they said, our size of our army or security. That is a problem, because security figures and statistics are normally not for everybody's conjecture or everybody's speculation. They believe security matters should not be politicized. But people challenge whether are we in a war situation, for example? Are we having security challenges in the country so as to budget that kind of money for security? But then there are other sides of the coin. For example, we need to execute a security reform program. The president has said if we need to do that, people who are going to be out of the security systems would have to be given money. Is this money going to go to some of them, or the money for those are to come from outside? So all those are things that we will debate. And then people said education, health should have more money than the ones I have outlined. So these are issues that people raise about the budget. That is the main budget of 2019. And of course, there's controversy about the supplementary appropriation bill. The president and the government is asking for more money, other than that has been approved. And that brought a lot of controversy. A lot of people said, in the first place, it was wrong to bring 6% of the budget, when the constitution said, or the law said, it should be only 1% of the whole budget that should come if you're asking for more money. It was said that the Minister of Finance said it was important for Parliament to approve that budget, otherwise even things like salary could be threatened. And I don't know how accurate is he doing that, or he's just sending a mere threat. But interestingly, Parliament agreed to pass half of the money he wants, pass more money to spend. So that was quite an interesting thing. Okay, but there are experts here who will treat the budget now. Let's go back. Let me throw the APRC Congress. We went to the UDP Congress. We heard that the UDP importantly changed their laws to ensure that certain people who are supposedly to be government employees don't get elected into their executive. That was interpreted as to eliminating people who, in the executive, who might be barrel supporters. And and there were statements made by lawyer Dabo, which seem to suggest that he is now taking a firm stance against anybody who wants to use his party for political gains. And that was a warning to President Barrow not to try to take UDP or recruit people from UDP or do anything UDP. Then we had President Barrow also going to Basse, and he made statements that are interpreted to mean that he really meant business. His agenda, he wouldn't stop at anything to get his agenda done, including sacking people who might be saboteurs in his cabinet. And then the APRC, saying that it's going to be JAMMEH throughout. What do you make? Those subjects.
Yeah.
Yes.
So perhaps we start with the budget.
Yeah.
Yes, Nima.
I think when this new government came into power, people had few expectations. So we don't think that things are going to be overhauled from the past regimes, the effects that they had on the economy especially. But people had expectations that up to this point have not been met. And if we look at the statistics, for example, the president himself came on the air, raised the risk alarm on food insecurity. And GIVOS has also been given from 2012 up to this point. The statistics on the agricultural sector's contribution to GDP has been dropping from that period up to this point. And in productive sectors like tourism, and you would expect also that job creations would have been made to rejuvenate the economy, to stimulate economic growth in the country, but all of these things are not happening. So what the budget signifies at this point is the trend that has been happening from the inception of this regime up to this point, is where are the activities happening? Like the activities have been happening in State House mostly, and the activities are about spending money on what? On travels and all of the other unproductive activities that are happening there. So it's a reflection of what is not happening in the productive sectors, which is agriculture, which is health. Just this year we have had so many strikes in the health sector, in the education sector, which suggests that not much money is being spent in that area. And the productivity in those sectors are also declining in contravention to what many people would expect. So you have this new budget that gives us this reflection that this trend that is happening where all the activities happen in State House, and which is also about just traveling and not much giving back to the economy, is the same trend that's going to continue. And I think that when people talk about the budget, this is what they are looking at. Why are we not spending more on youth empowerment, for example? Why are we not creating jobs? Why are we not doing so much to rejuvenate our agricultural sector? If you go to the rural areas, those of us who are from the rural areas, we know that agriculture has been declining. It's so visible.
And
we can
not
see
just
it.
to cut, you mentioned agriculture and how it should be made more attractive.
Yeah.
And in the context of the budget or the money allocated to agriculture, and this year's producer price of ground, 17,500. Do you think
Per ton?
per ton?
17,500
per ton, which is, and when you mean a ton here, that means
7 bags.
20. It's 20.
17 bags. 17 bags to 20.
Bags.
Yeah, 17 to 20.
It should be 20 bags.
Is that the buying price?
Yeah.
That's the buying
That's
price.
the buying price at the SAIKOU, 17,500. Do you think somebody who toiled and produced 20 bags, not these 50 kilowatt, 100 kilo bags, 20 of it, you think $17,000 is...
To put it into context, 2 months salary of an accountant clerk at the bank.
Yeah.
And it's less than somebody's salary somewhere, if it is the private sector.
Yeah. But you see, that's the problem also. The fact that
And
somebody could sit in an office and determine what a producer's prices or prices on somebody's goods are going to be, that's why the problem is.
Yeah,
because normally, if you go by the liberal concept...
Yeah, they also have a lot of consideration. For example, how much would the national authority doing that will get from the international market, etc., etc., and they do that. But shouldn't government find money, as it does other areas, to subsidize so that farmers get $50,000, for example, per ton? Because this will motivate young people in fact to go there. If they know that in 6 months I can be able to get 50,000 or 100,000, they probably will prefer going there than to loiter in the city here.
That's very true. That's something that could be done. But we have also understand that the Gambia is a party to a lot of other international treaties that discourages giving subsidies to farmers because they have to be. Yeah, there have to be an attractive competition in the world market. But also, Gambian groundnut is not very attractive in the world market also. So I think the government will be constrained as to how much money they can use to buy the farmers' goods that may not sell in the market. So we have all of this general problem that it's the government's responsibility now to see how do we diversify our agricultural system. If groundnut is not selling much, and as a result of it, not many people are also into groundnut production. What else can we do to make agricultural sector more attractive? This is where
we tried rice and failed.
No, the truth is, I think
political will wasn't there.
I mean, in two successive governments apparently failed to feed us as a nation, let alone export rice.
Yeah, because what you have seen in Gambia's
hundreds of millions.
But the truth is, what you have seen in Gambia's policies through and through, and that is true of Barrow, is that they are not thinking. Barrow doesn't demonstrate any will to develop Gambia. He's relying entirely. But the truth is entirely what Barrow's. Even if you ask him, Barrow, what would you do in this country? He will talk to you about Chinese projects, building roads. He will talk to you about EU projects, building roads. Because we don't have a thinking government. We don't have a government that thinks. We have a government that has.
Is that because we don't have knowledgeable people in the government?
We have problems.
Let me tell you something. You and I and the rest of us here can just think and diagnose the problems. It takes a person who is in that position, who is paid to do that job, to really think and strategize on what solutions to offer to the problems that we are.
But they are never sort of ideas. Whenever you ask them, they will say, we are doing this, we are doing this.
But are they doing it?
But also, are they right? Like, for instance, Nima was talking about the price of groundnut. Let's think productively about this. If you are talking about the price of groundnut, it's because you are selling it to someone else. Yeah. But now we have SAIKOU here. SAIKOU has been here for how many years? Yeah. There is only one single factory in this country that processes groundnut oil. Now, how about invest on this groundnut oil factory, expand it, sell oil, buy farmers' groundnuts from them, process into the oil and sell it.
That's what you should do.
Now, if you can, yes, but if you cannot do this, if you cannot do something but then again, you have a government that is going to put this money on travel. These people have spent over 300 millions on travel from January to July.
So we are saying that perhaps if monies that have either been allocated to some traveling or other places have been plowed back to support or make agriculture attractive by paying,
not just agriculture, all those sectors that contribute valuably to the GDP.
All right, so overall this budget, you agree with many commentators, it's a bad budget.
It's a bad budget.
Because look, the budget, every budget not only identifies policy direction of a government, but it also shows how serious they are and what they know about issues. Gambia will never develop based on begging. And that's what Barrow is doing, begging and begging and begging. There is no indigenous policy in this country that is directed on solving Gambia's problem. Food self-sufficiency is not there. Now, come to think of even climate change. Last year to this year, we've experienced crop failure in 2014. In 2015, we've experienced a serious drop in seasons. This year, again, we are experiencing a serious drop. All of this, what is the policy of the Gambia government towards addressing climate change? None. Gambia government consumption production capacity in terms of rice is thousands of tons. We are consuming 156,000 of tons, and then we've always only produced.
It doesn't have to continue to be like this.
It doesn't. So now a serious government would have come and say, this is the problem. This is the solution I intend, and this is why I need this amount of money to solve this problem. But that is not what this budget does. What this budget does is, this budget, you know that Gambia government, 4 billion of our money goes to wages. And now with this increment in salaries, it's about 4 billion. Now with this increment in salaries, we are going to pay, I think, if I am right, about 4.5 billion to salaries.
Now,
Because we are having, it's 50% increment on basic salary.
Yeah.
Barrow's salary is going to rise from 170,000 to 220,000,
Yeah,
right? Because it's going to be 100,000 additional.
That was scrutinized, and it's been said that it's going to really benefit those who are already earning more.
And the loan,
than those
yes,
who are-
and the loan,
Salary increments
Yes.
always.
but just on that same budget, the loan component, it's rising from 900 million from last year to 3.5 billion this year. That means that is how much Gambia government is going to take from domestic and international lenders. Now that is another problem, and we're having a debt portfolio of 50 something billion dollars. Now what does that tell you about priorities of Barrow? Barrow is highly inefficient now, as it appears, and the budget is not doing anything good.
Right, so the issue now is there isn't enough money to sustain the country's needs in everywhere. And even the little that's available is not being directed to
It's
areas
being
that should be
mismanaged.
prioritized. That's the issue, isn't
That's
it?
the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
So the budget is not smart.
So the budget is not smart.
That's
Yes.
the bottom line.
Now, what do you make of, there's so much about the budget, maybe we return to the topic now. What do you make of the
Supplementary.
The supplementary?
Well, look, if you ask me, the supplementary is not just unconstitutional, but the supplementary was an insult to the National Assembly, and I am so sad
Well,
it passed. I was very angry that
They have
night.
been half insulted.
No,
half
even
insulted,
half.
they have
No,
been-
even half. I was very angry when it passed, because what it does, it undermines the legitimacy of the decisions of the National Assembly. Because what Mambre did when he came to the National Assembly, he told them part of that money was going to be spent on the commission, on the commissions that were established,
Yeah.
the teachers' demands and all that. That means he is talking in the past. That means that money has been spent. Now you don't go spend money, come to the National Assembly and
It's
seek
good, it's good
seek
like
to validate an illegal enterprise. You don't do that. Legitimize an illegal activity.
That's what
And the
I'm
National
saying.
Assembly, as it were, as it happened, had legitimized an illegal activity by the president, by the government, and by the finance minister, because they spent this money.
Now,
Yeah,
here is
and
the
that's what
thing.
the protesters were, the few protesters that turned up, that was their bone of contention.
Exactly. But here is
This
the thing.
appropriation bill is normally not brought before it is spent.
Before it's spent.
It's been spent already.
Yeah.
But now you have a problem now. If a government, well, that's what perhaps ministry officials will argue. We are now confronting with reforms that has to take place, that has to be seen to take place, and they cannot take place without money, right? And the government is going to fund it to start it bankrolling before the international comes. So we spend this money to get this thing started, and then we go back to the parliament and say, well, we explain ourselves that we have to spend this because these projects and reforms have to go ahead. So the parliament scrutinized it and said yes. It
Okay,
has
but
to.
here's the thing.
And that would be their argument.
When last year's
But
budget-
should they sit down and wait for Parliament to approve first before they spend?
when last year's budget was being drawn, we expected that all of these things that are happening within this year would have been foreseen, right? If there was an unforeseen expenditure, the executive has a responsibility to come back to the National Assembly to explain themselves and where they need money, they request for it, as it has happened. Now here's the thing, two things are involved here. One thing is that money that was allocated for last year has been spent to a point where some other people who need to be paid, the commissioners, the teachers, the health sector, have not gotten their pay. And now the national debate comes up to say, what do we do about those people? I think for me, it's not prudent to just outright denounce the budget, call it unconstitutional and so on and so forth, because there are people's life on the line, people who need to be paid.
Absolutely.
But the government need to be held responsible for how they spent last year's budget also. Because if the budget has been spent within its limit, then that we wouldn't have had this problem. Right? So we come to a point where we need to have a compromise. We need to have a compromise that follows the national debate as to how the money that was allocated for last year or this year was spent to a point where we need to have a supplementary budget.
That is the whole idea of the budget session down there. And some of the issues you raised were issues by Parliament. Exactly. They raised these questions. What happened to the budget we approved here?
Yeah.
And the minister will come explain this and this and this and this, and at the end of the day, the MPs will agree or disagree with it. But finally, they will have to approve this because otherwise nothing will happen.
The truth is, let's shut down the government. Now the truth is,
Exactly like
now the truth,
United States.
now the
That's what
truth
I'm
is,
saying. The government,
So
the
we
government,
shut
the
it down.
executive need to be held responsible. Even though we can consider or we can reconsider funding this budget, but somehow it should not be easy for them. Because
That's what I'm
somebody
saying. Now, if the
somewhere
government is faced
mismanaged the
the
fund.
government is faced with problems like teachers going on strike, our allowances have not been paid, the doctors are saying we are not going to see patients unless this is paid, the commission of inquiry you set up there, you need to pay for stationaries, pay for research, pay for commissioners, and all these things are problems which are mounting urgent.
But shouldn't teachers'
Now, listen.
allowances being part of the budget in the first place?
Now, I mean, I'm talking about supplementary, where you probably have things that have.
Honorable
after
Cham, no,
budget
the
have
truth is,
I'm
Mr.
saying-
Cham,
I'm
if you
not-
owe money, you pay, right?
I'm not-
Do you steal money to pay someone?
No, no.
The commission,
You don't do that.
commissions
I'm saying
that
the
are to
problem
be
is
paid
the
were
timing.
set up since the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
right? The teacher allowances should have been reflected in the budget. It should have been captured in the budget. You ask for allowances for things that have already been assigned to you.
No, but Matthew-
And nobody just jump up one day and say, pay me
But
allowances.
Matthew, some of these issues came after the budget has been because
The request.
I think yes, that's
The
right.
request.
Yes.
But you don't spend the money you don't have.
Then what do you do with it?
No, but
They go and say,
at the core of
And
efficient
even-
financial management is that you don't spend money you don't have.
then you leave the
Let me
teachers.
down.
You didn't
Let
leave
me-
the
you don't
teachers to
get the
sit in
point.
their house.
That is what I am saying.
Well, then you leave the teachers to stay in their
Teachers
house.
are reasonable people.
And the doctors stay in their homes. and
Teachers
the
are reasonable
Let me
people.
My
The
goodness.
point
So-
here is-
so you can see the
The
conflict.
point,
You can see
the point here is,
you can see the
we
truth.
are being, let's say we are being employed by Kerr, right? Kerr understands that over this period of time, I'm supposed to pay Joy, I'm supposed to pay Lamingan, I'm supposed to pay Mustafa and Hima, right? That's what they include in their budget.
Yes, but
If after 6 months I don't get paid, I ask for my allowances.
now
The
listen.
money must have been there.
No, but
Allow her
Money
land,
has been
sis.
object-
but you
money
forgot-
has been budgeted for.
No, but you forgot.
No.
You forgot.
Allow her
The
land,
problem was
Cham.
not they were not paid.
The problem was
they
that
were
they were
not
asking,
paid their
they were
allowance.
asking for more.
No.
That was not there.
No, more was asked. Of course, there were issues that were not in the budget.
If more was asked, the more should have been included in the next budget.
Absolutely. And the more.
Other one, but the one that has been presented.
The next
it
budget,
was
not
after the
as a
budget.
supplementary
It
budget.
was after the budget that issues like this should be added. This should come. This should be.
Mr.
added,
Cham,
this should be added.
Mr. Cham, let me, I was in the National Assembly. Let me just say the basics here. Mambure was only playing on emotions of people. He was telling them about salary, this is inaccurate, this is not true. Because salary cannot be $557 million for just December. This is ridiculous. No one would believe that. So what we are saying is that Mambure packaged this whole illegal activity in an emotional package
To play the
and
emotions
presented
of
to
the
the
people.
National Assembly members. He came to them and said, if you don't approve this, people won't be paid their salaries. This is a lie because December salary cannot. And now let's look at which ministries, which places this money go to. It went to centralized services.
That's the main issue.
Now it went to centralized services, interior, education, and defense. Defense.
Yeah.
This is where supplementary allocations were approved. Now what he did was he stuffed money that is supposed to go elsewhere, and I bet travels will be part of it.
Kind of hide them.
And hide them
under this
and under the pretext that they are going to be paid salaries.
You are virtually
Salaries for 557 million in a month.
good. Maybe your next job should be a politician so that you can.
But this is very relevant. This is what
All
we're
right,
saying.
all right, we will-
People
we will-
need to be
we will
paid,
come back to the
but
point.
the government need to pay for misusing the money that was allocated as
And we are also
Really?
if you give me 1 minute, we are treading on a very dangerous path, because one of the reasons why Gambians changed a political system was because there was no efficient financial management.
Yes.
Now, and the same people who had manipulated Gambia's finances, Mambure himself included, is the same person who is doing this scheme, and that's what makes it all more annoying.
Well, so that's a bit political now. You're trying to tell us.
Well, but this is whole thing is political as well.
Somebody was a bad finance. If he was part of the bad financial management, then then there's no surprise this is happening now because he's the one controlling the
No,
finance.
but we are seeing it live. It's not like I'm making an allegation. I'm just presenting facts.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have more on the budget, but let's go back to the politics. What do you make of the APRC? Do they even have a choice not to maintain maintain JAMMEH as they are here? Do you see them as a party who would even muster the courage to put JAMMEH aside and march forward?
I think as it stands now, APRC wants to be with JAMMEH. I mean, for me,
Can they even do without them?
This is
No.
the point. I mean, the whole thing about somebody personalizing a party and making it an individual thing is coming to the spotlight, right? It has come to the spotlight in a very frightening way. One, you have a man who has been accused of major human rights abuses, who is in exile, whose return is not likely, and you have a whole group of people who still seem to be living in a dreamland, thinking that we can have this leader come back and lead our party. I think there's a serious problem with some people as far as party membership is concerned. Is it fanaticism? Is it
not?
It is.
Is it not a case of the party still not being able to reconcile with the fact that JAMMEH is gone forever?
The truth is that you cannot separate the body and the soul. JAMMEH is the soul of the party. And that's why they're finding it difficult to separate the two. Now the problem is, what is APRC's constituency? And if you know that, it will be easy to understand. I mean, APRC's constituency is very much linked to JAMMEH. And if anybody comes as the leadership of the APRC and wants to dissociate yourself with JAMMEH, you will have a problem. There was an attempt at the start of APRC, and I have to tell you, I think APRC is having some very sound-minded young people, aside from the old guards who are stuck in the past. You have some guys like Ja, who is very progressive. Amul tends to be also very progressive. So, but here are progressive crop of young people, newcomers, who are stuck with the old guards who know nothing other than JAMMEH.
Now, why?
So the soul and the party.
Did you see a situation where this crop of new generation
toppling the old guys?
Yes, at least to say, okay, you know what?
Eventually it will happen.
Let's be realistic. Let's take JAMMEH aside, because apart from the fact that he doesn't enjoy a lot of respect.
Yeah.
He has a very bad international reputation.
Yeah.
I also understand that there's a legal barrier to JAMMEH leading the party. Because
that issue is
Are
there.
they not aware of that?
Well, they're probably not aware, but the problem is they are saying that the people, JAMMEH is not getting his due recognition and respect from Gambians. Because they said that all what the Gambian people are focusing is the negativity of JAMMEH and not his achievements. They said his achievements are unrivaled. His achievement is unrivaled, and people are not, for example, talking about the roads that he built to open up places who are now motorable, the amount of schools he built from 0 to hundreds, and the achievements he made in many sources. He said these are not mentioned. But these are just brushed aside. All what the people are focusing on, JAMMEH kill Nanga, JAMMEH distant, JAMMEH.
Well, you know, that should be
should be given. What do you make of that?
How about the theft of public resources? And this is my problem with the current administration as well.
Okay,
Gambians are so petty. We tend to focus on things that we beg to get. Gambia has enough resources to develop. There shouldn't be tokenism here.
I'm sorry, guys. These are quite heated argument, but we should quickly round up.
JAMMEH should come back. He has a right.
JAMMEH is a Gambian, so you can't be unfair to say he should come back to his own country. But you can also be unfair to say he should face justice.
Yeah.
So that's the catch.
He is a Gambian, so obviously this is his home.
They say that people would forget what you do for them, but they would never forget how you make them feel.
Right.
So JAMMEH can build a paradise on this paradise on earth for Gambians, but all other things that are so serious as human rights abuses, as extrajudicial killing, all the bad things Jammeh has done is what people will remember, because that's what we really feel.
Thank you very much, Lamin Cham. Of course, it has been a heated argument to the extent they were already in the budget. Now we'll quickly move to Mustafa. He'll be giving us Kerr Fatou review, and you know how he does. Mustafa.
All right, thank you very much. I think we do more or less focused on similar things, but I think one thing that we would need to also look at is the comeback of the PPP. I mean, the BB Dabo factor.
It is in
the BB Dabo factor. You know, he was at the last press conference that PPP held, and he was saying that they are going to fight. They're going to, if necessary, go to the court to recover the assets that were seized from them by JAMMEH.
It sounds like what APRC has been saying about their own assets.
Yes.
What is the similarity? Do you think there's any difference? If the PPP has any moral justification to ask for their properties seized by APRC or AFPRC, JAMMEH, in the same way, APRC can say, we also have a moral to ask about our bureau, our banks frozen.
The problem though might be the process. You may know that I think the Algali Commission was not published, was it?
They did not publish their findings.
Yes, and the law states that it should be published.
Okay.
So, and then also on top of that, a former minister under JAMMEH, came to comment on Standard that in 2017, after JAMMEH fell, that commission exonerated the former PPP ministers.
Exactly.
That means what JAMMEH did was illegal.
So now then, let's check this. So Bakari Dabo or perhaps the PPP officials were right.
Can go to court. And this minister's statement will be used by them because he was JAMMEH's former first.
Could the new government,
Justice Minister,
Bibi Dabo said it is disappointed that
the new government,
with all the criminality that JAMMEH's government has been known to be, the new government that succeed them is still dragging their
holding on to their assets.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, the assets that have been seized from Bibi Dabo and Kerr, were they seized by the state or they were seized by JAMMEH? Because if they were seized by JAMMEH and they are now...
JAMMEH claimed some process has happened at the Alkali Commission and Commission of Inquiry, but you know, like Mustafa said, there were issues with that commission. Some said it was just a canker, of course, because the findings were not published.
The findings were not published, and if it turns out...
So if it actually exonerate them, and JAMMEH didn't want, because JAMMEH had made a proclamation that these people are corrupt. Now, if a process has now exonerated them, JAMMEH will not go back to say, well, he felt too good to say, well, I actually thought they are wrong, but they are found to be, so return their assets. JAMMEH didn't do that.
Yeah.
Now, suppose the new government that came to power knows this fact. Why are they still not giving them there?
But that's my question. My question is, if it was seized by the state and it has benefited the state, then the state has a responsibility. Now the new government has a responsibility towards this individual.
Yeah, well,
but if it was seized by JAMMEH and it benefited JAMMEH and his people rather than the state, then that is the individual's case against JAMMEH. That is the role of the TRRC. They have a responsibility now to address their case to the TRRC.
So,
and JAMMEH should be
so also there are two sides to this.
Yes.
One, of course, the state is using, you know that the compound that the National Disaster Management Agency is using right now, believed to have belonging to Abu Denting family.
Yes.
So there is that dimension, but also there is another, which is the JAMMEH Commission factor, which is that the Commission is currently working on all these issues, and then the Commission's recommendations are yet to be out.
But I have not known the Commission tackling the properties of the former government officials.
But they are tackling the properties of former president and the entire and the entire.
It appears the APRC. Okay, that you are talking about the APRC's claim.
Yes.
That they should also should be given their.
Yeah.
So that one has been tackled by the commission.
Yeah. So for the BB Dabo and others, they can just go to the court.
And
as he said that he believes in the justice system and he walks into the court and
he didn't stop there. He talked about the party coming back.
Yeah.
And very likely next Friday, who do you think will emerge as the party flag bearer? I mean, Omar Jallow has always said he's not contesting for anything more. Alagi, as he says, too old. Bakari Dabo is Well, he's aging, but in perfect good health, perhaps to march on, and he's clearly very well respected. One of the most respected politicians.
Of course, you will say that because
Do you
he's from
foresee him? No. Not because he's from Kerr. You're from Barigo, but do you see him? At least as many people observe that he could emerge as the leader of the party next week.
It's likely. It's very likely. Very likely. Because I don't see an option within who can be as good and has so much wisdom like him.
And if he does become the leader of the PPP and the party is revived, do you see the PPP eroding?
But then again,
eroding or getting into the base of the United Democratic Party, which succeeded them,
in so many ways.
In many areas. Okay, people will say automatically say Bakari is going to get Kian because he comes from there, which may not be the case. But apart from that, there are other areas.
That may not be the case. Bakari doesn't wield so much influence in Gambian politics.
Not even in
It's
India.
too much. It's too long a time, you think, for the PPP to reconnect.
It's difficult when you are down to come back again.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a possibility, but it's
we have been politicians gone away and come. Is it too long for the PPP to reconnect with the people again after what has happened?
I wouldn't say that.
I always say this.
Okay.
I stand by my
So the PPP may not have much inroads, but if they are likely to make an affiliation, which party do you think they are likely to affiliate?
UDP, of course. That's the mother. That's the child.
Well, here you come. So
UDP
but
is
if
the
I
child.
go and join the child now.
The NCP too, because you've seen NCP and UDP. Now, most of the leadership of the UDP currently are from NCP.
Yeah,
but when NCP came, they struggled a long time, and they're still struggling. But it's difficult sometimes to make that kind of comeback, because when people move on.
At the moment, do you think the NCP leadership, or what's left of it, it's not now been?
So I think the time
won't
allow us to explore more. But we've talked about the debt. The international advisor Gambia appointed to take care of the debt, and then also that the tractors that you may know the commissioners seized
and sold.
Have been sold. 145 sold. Yes. 47 kept. Dunes Hotel and Casino, it's furniture's been sold. So by the commissioner, this is revealed by the Justice Minister. But we know that the commissioners also have now got an extended. They've
January.
Yeah.
I think that's more or less for compiling.
And being paid another 500,000. This is a lot. These people are rich now. Huh?
Well, that's of course.
Yeah, okay. So
now, what's important is how much committed will be the government.
Mr. Lamin Cham, I'm sorry that I have to take over now. And of course, it was quite an insightful one on the Kerr Fatou website. And if you want to know more or be more insightful on some of these issues mentioned, you could check us on Facebook or on www.kerfatou.gm for further information. Over to you, Nimasata. She'll be taking us through social media. What has been trending on social media, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss it. Over to you, Nima.
All right, thank you very much, Joy. So many things have been trending on social media since the last time we met. But in the recent past, especially during this week, starting from last week, some other things came up that overshadowed the whole UDP Congress, for example, and the whole saga with Dabo and Barrow. And this has been the supplementary budget that we have discussed earlier on. Last week, there was a protest that was called by some prominent individuals like Madi Jobate and some university students that called for occupying National Assembly. It turns out that the Minister of Finance have laid a supplementary budget appropriation bill to the National Assembly, which was outrageous, that some people called unconstitutional. And some parliamentarians have also said the procedure with which the budget has been tabled was wrong, and as a result of the protest, now people are claiming that the National Assembly took a bold step to reject that supplementary budget bill. And as a result, social media has really celebrated this move. It gave people the confidence that we have a new phase of what we call checks and balances within our government systems, and it gives people the confidence that moving forward we can have an institution that we can trust, that we can rely on to do things on our behalf. But that was led to a disappointment during the few days ago when National Assembly had an emergency session and they approved the said budget. Although it was not all that has been included in the budget.
Night.
Some part of the budget has been approved, as we have learned, and people are very disappointed with this, because if you have given us some confidence a few days ago and then you go behind our back, it feels like we've been stabbed in the back, and this is what has been manifested on social media.
So what are some of the commentaries that you've had during the injection of such a horrendous issue?
On social media, what people are concerned with is especially prominent members within the National Assembly that we have trust in, people like Khalifa Sallah and Sidia Jatta, who we have learned have abstained from voting. And people were generally disappointed with the whole National Assembly, but these are people we really had confidence in, and we thought they would take our side. But it turns out that majority of the UDP parliamentarians have voted on behalf of the budget, and some opposition parties have voted against it, but majority of those prominent National Assembly members that people look up to, like Khalifa Sallah, Usman Silla, have abstained from voting. And on social media, people are saying that this is a betrayal of national trust, because abstaining means endorsing.
Right.
And another thing that people are concerned with is the role of the Speaker of the House. Being a nominated person, obviously people feel from the beginning that this person would owe allegiance to the President, and that means endorsing everything that the President requires, and this is what have also manifested. So these are the issues on social media. There are people calling for going to challenge this decision at the courts, or even going on the street to protest against it.
So United Democratic Party members who voted were 8, opposing 11. Salah and Usman Silla abstained. Sidia not there. Swaibu voted. And then the 5 NRP members voted in favor. Of course, obviously, giving Barrow and Hamad relations.
But
for me, it shows the tension also in the UDP camp. You know, see one's pulling the other way and another's pulling the other. So you have the right-wing UDP guys, pro-Davos.
Yeah, but something else also came out of this. We learned that the people who have been accused of accepting the $10,000 seed
are the people in this camp.
Are the same people
who voted
on behalf
the Fatou Jawara, SAIKOU Bajaju, SAIKOU Marong,
all the people
likes.
who were accused of accepting the money.
Absolutely.
So
do we really have a situation where the parliamentarians were they were voting on the merits and demerits of the budget, or their political affiliation? Because if it is the political affiliation, you wanted me to believe this shows we have a problem.
It may not necessarily be that.
Because it's a national budget now. This is not some policy that the government is trying to drive them to adopt, or some law they want to pass.
But is it national?
This is a law that is our national budget. Are the MPs motivated by what?
Of course, there is there is a political undertone to all this. Of course, it's national, we all know. Personally, me, I'm against it.
So there's still partisanship.
Of course, there is still partisanship. Even if you look at this, you still see partisanship. But the bottom line is the budget.
Where then would you say Khalifa and the Doi people stand in this matter?
No, Khalifa made this position clear. He said it's unconstitutional. Even when he got up, he said it's unconstitutional. But you know, there was so much politics. 3 things happened. 1, this was meant to be forced down the throat of National Assembly members, whether they take it or leave it. Because they brought this bill in the night.
I know. And
it ended at 3. And there was so much politics. I called someone and the person was telling me they were going from one person to another. So they were mobilizing, campaigning.
What about Syria? Where was Syria?
To seek support. Syria was not there because he went home. you know. So, but you can't blame him for going home.
Because it took too long.
You can get tired and go. See, there is 70 something now, you know. Okay. So, I mean, if you look at it, it was just criminal. It was criminal.
But we got it passed.
Yeah, it got passed. And the question you asked whether it was passed based on its merit may also hold some truth, because we have also seen on social media some GDC members questioning one of their National Assembly members as to why he was one of the people who voted for. And he gave his explanations that some part of the budget are really relevant and it's for national interest that he voted, especially where teachers have to be paid. I think this person was formerly a teacher. So they voted based along those lines, and his justification was he didn't vote for the entire budget. I think they had an option also to vote for some points.
They voted by point, actually. Points, so they voted for only 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in all, it's 32 million for the defense, 33 million for interior, 402 million for centralized services, 89 million for basic and secondary education.
Yeah. So I saw those categorizations. So basic and secondary got much money.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
So, and no surprise that former teacher politician now voted for it.
Yeah, but it's manipulation. They were manipulated to believe it's salaries. It's no salary.
It's not, but at least it goes on to the welfare of the teachers.
That's what they said, which is true.
Which is not true.
And so you were trying to say that they mask some expenditures that are not actually meant for education.
The reality is,
that will be criminal.
The entire yearly salary, it's little below 4 billion.
Yeah. So we are moving on. I think another thing that was very interesting is that few days after the UDP ended their rally, their congress, and Barrow, Dabo has been accused of sending jabs at Barrow. Barrow took on a rally in URR. Presumably to open, to lay a foundation stone for some development.
Presumably he led that.
He actually led
that.
And the money for that contract is at hand. Chinese.
The education.
Yeah.
You mean the 2 bridges and the 2 roads?
I mean, it's also very
that's at hand, yes.
That's at hand.
To build 2 bags with 1 stone.
Is he now better placed now to say, I'm doing something, at least?
But that's what he said. He promised that he is going to be voted into office for the 2nd time based on
because of his achievements.
Yeah, look, of course he's doing something.
Now he said the meetings, particularly the one in Fode Kunda, was not a political meeting, but his supporters didn't hide their loyalty. They said they assured him of re-election. I mean, was he trying to mask, or was he just trying to hide the inevitable? I mean, that was a political part.
Public office, we must begin to look at public office as service delivery. When you take an AfriCell on your phone, you expect AfriCell to give you services.
Absolutely.
Nothing more, nothing less. In the Gambia here, we need to begin to think of this country as our own, and we only. In fact, in Sadau's independence speech, he said, we are on our own, and it's only by our own effort that we must earn our keep. This is an independent rate. It was said 1965, and still now we cannot understand this. We are on our own.
But Sanawara too was going on this with departments to admit.
No, I am not against. I am not against.
They were more or less like PPP.
I am not against public tour. I am not against nationwide tour. I am simply saying, until people in this country accept and believe that it's only us who will develop this country, we will not be developed. Begging will not develop Gambia. Going to China to come and build roads will not develop. We have to sit to think.
Or going to Taiwan to come and build roads.
I'm sorry, I will have to cut this because we are time constrained. It was quite an interesting and heated argument. Of course, when it comes to social media, we are all interested in knowing what and how we can be progressive as a nation. Yes, over to one of my best segments. It is the entrepreneur. And you know what we do on the entrepreneur? Every week, we profile a young Gambian doing very well in the industry they find themselves. And being an entrepreneur is a means of creating more employment and also contributing to the GDP of the country. So today, we'll have a Gambian in business by name Hadi Cisse of Amsterdam Enterprise, who's making a name for herself in general merchandise. Let's take a watch.
maa ngi tudd Ndeye Hadi Seka maa ngi dëkk Kololi maa ngi graduate Glory Baptist. waaw business bi moom liggéey la boo xamante ne yombut waaye yàlla def na dafa nekk suñu xol yi moom lañ xam si moom la ñoo dunda te bëgg nañ ko ba pare waaw loolu foog naa loolu moo gën a important daal. business bi moom mun naa wax ne bu ma commencé boobu xale bu ndaw laa woon business bi mu ngi commencé 1994 waaye man maa ngi start business bi 2011. business bi fii moom nu moo demee mooy dañoo import bagage yi from Holland indi ko Gambia fii ak yeneen dëkka yu mel ni comme Sénégal Mbour su croisement Saly bi foofu ñu ngi fa am branch nga dem Guinée Conakry tam am nañ fa branch biir Gambia fii am nañ Farafenni am nañ Bansang waaw am nañ different branches daal. liggéey bi moom nuñ ko nu ñoo jànkuwanteeg moom fii because comme for example ñu ngi am like fixed prices dañ bëgg a comme because place bi du place bu ndaw so doñ mën a jël every other item di ko waxaale ak customer bi dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa difficult ak ñun so dañ decide ne dañ ko def fixed price waaye da nga gis ne fixed price bi ñu bari dañ si am problème because xam nga Gambia nit ñi dañ miin jëndi waxaale waaw so ñun ñu introduce fixed price bi nag sometimes dañ dee am ñoo xam ne dañ koo understand waaye am ñoo xam ne daal dañ si dee xaw a am tuuti problème sometimes ñu merci o lu demee ni waaye suñu la explain lee tamit danga dee mën a understand daal. ñëpp façon customer bu nekk la ñoo am ñëpp a fi dee ñëw waaw amut xale amut mag amut góor amut jigéen du yére daala baag loo xam ne daal ni daf koo soxla pour lu moo use rek moo xam liggéey kaayam la like tools yi xam nga yëpp lañ dee am ñu ngi am ay customer yoo xam ne ñu ngi jógee Ziguinchor ñu ngi am ñuy jógee Dakar Kaolack ñu ngi am different places daal different countries la ñi di jógee di ñëw jënd si bagage bi nag ñun dañ koo indi pour ku nekk mun see gis boppam daal indi wuñ ko fi rek pour ñu nekk ku am rek moo koo jënda dañ ko indi pour ñëpp ba pare loo xam ne soxla nga ko sa kër rek loo xam ne second hand la te good quality la dañ koo indi soo ñëwee yow nga jënda dem yóbbu sa kër oo nga dem jaayaat. bi suma estimate ñaata employee lañ am we will be talking about like 50 waaw Gambia fii maybe we talk about 30 and outside Gambia maybe 20 or more. waaw ñun nekkuñ di liggéey pour tey ñun dañoo liggéey pour future bi te loolu moo ñu ñor ñun dañoo liggéey tey bëgg nañ ëllëg si biir suñu sët yi sax ñu nekk di run business bi ñu toog di ko gis ñun liggéeyuñ pour tey rek wala beneen next year wala beneen 5 years waaw ñun ñu ngi liggéey ñu ngi séntu daal lu bari si kanam. waaw ñun ñu ngi indi good quality second hand loolu la ñoo indi waaye second hand boo xam ne la quality bu baax la su ma wax loolu noonu Amsterdam Enterprise ñu bëri xam naa biir Gambia xam nañ ko waaw bagage bu baax la ñoo indi su ñëwee ñu jaay la ko te soo demee di nga si kontaan ak price bu reasonable. waaw Amsterdam Enterprise suñ main branch bi fii la nekk Bakoteh ñu ngi am also soo ñëwee site yi Serekunda da ngaa ñëw ba Tipa garage rek den nga mel ni kuy dem Sénégambia si kaw yoon bi soo ne Amsterdam Enterprise rek driver yu bari xam nañ fi mun nañ laa indi soo jógee site yi Turntable wala Bijuloog yooyu noonu da ngaa ñëw ba si Elton bi si police station bi kootu police bi nga ñëw straight ba Amsterdam Enterprise. maa ngi gërëm ñëpp di nuyu suma customer yi yëpp because lii ñoom ñoo ko waral ñoom ñooy ñëw jënda si di nuyu suma staff yi suma gannaaw dañ fee sonn bu baax a baax léegi mu métti léegi sañu liggéey overtime waaye jàmbaar lañ dañoo muñ te dañoo góorgóorlu maa ngi also gërëm ki nga xam ne mooy suñ boss bu mag bi di Malick moom mu ngi ba Holland waaw moom tam daf fi dee sonn trop te mu ngi góorgóorlu bu baax te mu ngi si gannaaw ñëpp mu ngi support mu ngi jàppale mu ngi encourage moom ndaw buy liggéey rek la bugg a gis so maa ngi koo gërëm bu baax maa ngi also gërëm suñ manager bi Sakho Suur moom tamit du lekk du nelaw talu dara mu ngi daw suba ngoon guddee bëccëg pour luy jëmale business bi kanam xam nga maa ngi gërëm ñëpp daal.
waaw Zeynab Skills Training Center fu xale jigéen ñi day ñëw la di jàngal métier dañ leen dee jàngal hairdressing jàngal leen beauty therapy ak massage therapy.
am nañ school am nañ jaay loo xalaat daal Amsterdam daal looy ut si àdduna du defaru du dara si àdduna man maay ticca bi man maay ticca xadi ku ma xamul ku ne dégg nga ma fii mooy Amsterdam ñun fii la ñuy ndamoo fii lañ xam waaw di ko farafeje nag.
Welcome back after that video of Hadi Cisse of Amsterdam Enterprise, and one of my favorite. You know, for every of our segment, it's always my favorite. I'm sorry, I just can't help myself. But I am really honored to present to you Mr. SAIKOU JAMMEH, who is the Secretary General of the Gambia Press Union, and he will talk to us about the setting of the new media council. You know, as we grow, we have new mindset because we are about to move forward as a media industry in the Gambia. SAIKOU, tell us, what is Media Council? What is it about? And how was this idea generated?
Well, in terms of the idea, perhaps we start with that. Essentially, it is called media regulation. And there is always this question, should media be regulated? And then everyone agrees that yes, the media should be regulated. And then the next question will be, how should it be regulated? And this is what usually brings about a lot of contention. Should it be the government that should regulate the media, or should it be the media that should regulate itself? And this debate has been going on in the Gambia for many, many decades. Many attempts were made even during the First Republic to set up what was then called the National Media Commission. And in the Second Republic also, attempts were made. In fact, it was established, what was called the National Media Commission was established. But this was a body that had excessive powers, and it was not in the interest of press freedom. The GPU at the time challenged it at the courts, and the Supreme Court said that the efforts made by the government to set up that National Media Commission was quite unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court then recommended that the GPU should set up a self-regulatory body. So this discussion has been going on from the onset. I mean, just last week I was talking to the Dean of the School of Journalism at the university, and he was showing me some documents that he did together with Dixon Cully. Dixon is one of the founders of the GPU, towards media regulation in the Gambia, and they also called it the Media Council. So the Media Council is unlike a media commission. The Media Council is set up by the media, with the media and for the media, and the Media Commission is set up by a government to regulate the media. So essentially that's the distinction.
Interesting. When I was told that we're here to discuss Media Council, and did a little bit of research and found out about 5 African countries have already established this institution in their countries, and one of the best one of the country that it has done very well in terms of Media Council is Tanzania. You could rectify me if I'm wrong. I just want to know if there are measures that GPU, that is formulating this institution, Media Council, has any policies that they have driven from this country that has done immensely well in terms of the same direction that the Gambia Press Union is taking?
Well, all in all in the world, you have more than 130 media councils. Yes, the Tanzanian model is there, which is working quite fine. Ours will be ours will be slightly different from the Tanzanian model, in the sense that the Tanzanian model is a body that's established by an act of parliament. The Gambian model wouldn't be established by an act of parliament. So in terms of the status, the legal status of it, the Gambian model will be like the South African model, which is not established by an act of parliament. And there are reasons for this. The Tanzanian one is working quite well. In fact, it is rated as one of the best models in Africa. Until recently, when the president started, making efforts to use it as a tool to suppress the press. And that's one of the dangers of establishing a council through an act of parliament. So that's why we're trying to err on the side of caution and democracy to say that let us not pass an act of parliament. But the Tanzanian model is quite well. But in our studies, we have studied more than 80 models in more than 80 countries in the world. In Africa, in Europe, in North America, we've studied more than 80. And then, personally, I have more than 10 experts across the world that I constantly consult on any question. And we've done a lot of literature review and trying to, see which one is working and which one is not working, why this is working and why this is not working. That's why you see that the model that we've developed is very much in line with international standards, but it has some Gambian characteristics.
Interesting. Nima?
Yeah, so I was going to ask, you mentioned the Media Commission being different from the Media Council, and one distinction, major distinction being that one was set up by the government to regulate the media, which means that they want to suppress it. What makes the Media Council so different? How is it being composed to make it distinctively a regulatory body that is more concerned with promoting the interests of the media as opposed to what the Commission used to be?
Well, a few things make a commission different from a council. One is the legislation. A commission is usually established by an act of parliament. The norm when it comes to councils is that they don't necessarily have to be established by an act of parliament. A commission is normally an initiative of the government. A council is normally a self-regulatory mechanism. A commission also is usually composed mainly by government people. A council, mainly by industry players. And in some instances, they do invite government and they do invite civil society or members of the public to sit on the decision-making levels. Now, in terms of the organogram, which you ask of the council, of course, it will have a membership, and this membership will comprise media outlets. And media outlets that are members of the council will form what is called the National General Convention. And this National General Convention will be the highest decision-making body of the council. And under the National General Convention, then you will have the Governing Council. So this Governing Council will have 11 members. You will have media representatives, you will have a government representative, you will have a civil society representative, you will have a representative of GCCI, that's the private sector, differently abled community, women, children, vulnerable groups will also have representation there. Under that Governing Council, you will have what is called the Ethics Panel, and the Ethics Panel is going to be composed by the GPU, and this will comprise 3 people, a journalist or a media practitioner, a lawyer, and an independent person. And then under that, then you will have the Secretariat. The Secretariat will essentially be the engine room of the council. So when you, as a member of the public, when you feel offended by media publication or media broadcast, you lodge your complaint, the Secretariat receives it, gives it to the council, and the council, gives it to the ethics panel, and the ethics panel hears your case, and if possible, provide you with a remedy. If you are not okay with that remedy, then you can take your case to the Governing Council. That's where you have everyone represented.
Now,
if you don't, I have a follow-up question, and that will be for me. My follow-up question is, what will be the mandate of this council? And don't you, like, I have the fear that it may overshadow the role of the GPU, but that may not be the case. But can you clarify that for me? What is their mandate that is so different from the GPU's role?
So the council's role and the GPU's role are distinct, but complementary. In the sense that the GPU is not a media police, and that's what we've been, talking about for the longest time. Anytime something happens, people say, oh, the GPU do this, GPU. But GPU's mandate essentially is to take care of the welfare and interests of the members and to promote professionalism and freedom of expression in the Gambia. The Media Council's mandate is 2, or maybe 3. One is to receive complaints and handle complaints of violations of the Code of Ethics. Now, the Code of Ethics, of course, will be provided by the GPU and the industry, and the council will have to make their decisions based on what is in the code. Their second mandate will be to monitor the compliance of that code, because when we provide this code, there has to be a body to look at how people are compliant with that code. And the third mandate that they will have is to promote professionalism in the media through, promotion of ethical principles. Unlike the GPUs, where it's more about capacity building, it's more about advocacy rather than what the council will do.
Okay, Mr. Secretary General, many people, when they heard this, said, well, there already exist laws in the country's law books. For example, the law of sedition, etc., where people who are offended by the work of the media can go to court to look for redress. Now, people are wondering now, isn't this not enough? And in whose interest is this media? You mentioned 2 occasions with two successive governments that failed. What is the new convergence between the government and the GPU on this matter? How do they agree?
When this new government came into being, they found this discussion on the table. But we made it clearer to them by providing them with some policy advice on how the media should be regulated. And then in principle, we got a response from that, yeah, this is the way to go. So we've got a buy-in from the government, because the government will give the council their representation and their blessing. So, so we were able to talk to them to raise their awareness on models of media regulation also for them to understand this. In a lot of countries where the council even doesn't have government representation, most of the times in democracies, governments embrace the council and they try to use it. And we've realized that where you have councils, governments lodge more complaints than any other individual or group of individuals, even where it is not established by an act of parliament. So we're trying to get a buy-in from the government, and so far, so good in that respect. But in terms of, what was the first question?
Yeah, I'm trying to say...
in terms of the courts, court system,
yes.
That's quite interesting.
They're going to circumvent now.
Because the laws that criminalize speech in the Gambia will ultimately go away. So far, the GPU has succeeded in making defamation unconstitutional. The criminal aspect of it. We have succeeded in making false publication on the internet unconstitutional, as per the Supreme Court ruling on our case. We've also succeeded in getting the Supreme Court to declare part of sedition as constitutional. But while these legal reforms are ongoing, there's a corresponding need and a call for the media also to up their game a bit. And that's where the council comes in. And in terms of, the council existing side by side with the courts, it's quite amazing, because what the council does is that it provides the public with an alternative dispute resolution system. Court systems are very unpredictable. They are a very long process. They are very complicated. You don't know how it will end. Councils provide their services based on 3 Fs, and that is they are free, they are fair, and they are very fast. So you can lodge a complaint today and get a redress today.
Now, if a layman over there now may think that, okay, now if I get, let's say, if I get accused or I get unfairly framed by a journalist, now I can't go to court now, I'm going to this council. How do I guarantee that I will?
The council will not and doesn't even have the right or the mandate to take away that right from anybody. Because every individual has a constitutional right to seek redress from the courts. What we are doing is to try to provide an alternative for them. And courts deal mainly with legal issues. Council's mandate go beyond legality because they also deal with ethics and moral issues. So that's why the council's mandate is even broader than the court system, and it even provides people with better remedy than the court system.
Some commentators say rather than focusing all your energy towards this thing, you should rather concentrate on capacity building, because if capacities are built in the first place, issues may not even be brought forward to this media council.
Well, that's what the GPU is.
Yes.
So GPU has been working in the past, 3-4 years. The GPU has spent more than $16 million this capacity building alone. So that will be an ongoing process. Even when the council is established, capacity building will continue. But we do also know that even when people's capacities are built to this level, there might be instances where people might violate the ethical code. People don't always violate ethics because they don't know. Sometimes people violate because they are influenced by certain things, and that's where the council will come in.
Yeah. See, I want to change the direction of this conversation.
How about the Act of Parliament?
Where is the funding coming?
Well, as for the constitution of the council will be funded by the media.
We're getting ambushed.
By the media?
By the media.
How?
So media outlets will have to pay a certain amount of money to sustain the council. For now, GPU has secured some funding to take the council for almost a year. But as part of the council's sustainability plan, the media houses have agreed to come in and pay annual subscription, and the council will rely on this annual subscription. Of course, there is a window for them to also tap into some form of donor funding. It's possible that we might want the government to also subvent the council, because the council is complementing the work of the government. But there is always this question of, if the government put their money in, wouldn't they want to influence? So a question of, you put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. And well, we tell them that there are different models. In Sweden, for example, government funds the council, but they define clearly where that funding will go, because the council usually has multiple roles. One of the roles is to handle complaints, and another role is to advocate for professional standards. So they say government's funding must not go into the core functions of the council. That's why the council's independent is. But it can go into the council's advocacy, where it complements the role of the government. And it's going to be quite well. It's going to be done quite well, because in a lot of countries, in South Africa, for example, they don't even allow donor funding to fund the council. Gambian media can actually fund this. In a lot of countries, no way. A lot of countries, they don't even allow government to fund it. But you have different models. In Holland, the council there is funded by a foundation. In Tanzania, that she mentioned, 10% of the council's budget comes from the media, and 90% comes from donor funding. So you have different models of.
Okay.
A follow up on this one, because if the media council's funding is going to come from the media houses, and the GPU is already struggling to get media houses to at least give more regards to welfare issues to their members, and then the media houses complain mostly is that they don't have money, resources is not there. How do you expect them to spend that money on the media council, money that they claim they don't have?
Well, the answer to that lies in what the alternative is. And therefore, every media house has or should see the need to fund this. Because where this council fails, now you are automatically inviting the government to come in and regulate the media. And that's why every media outlet should see, if I don't fund to sustain this council, and if it fails, I am inviting the government to come in, because there must be regulation. Whether we regulate ourselves or the government regulates us, it's up to us. If we really want to regulate ourselves, then we must fund the mechanism that regulates us. In Denmark, it happened there in 1992 when they set up the council. The media owners didn't want to fund it. Government went ahead and passed a law to say that they are going to be media council. It happened in Denmark. So all those, lessons are there for learn, and we should see the need to actually fund this. And professional standards and professionalism, to my mind, should be the business of every media outlet and every, journalist who is concerned about this practice, essentially.
Now, you mentioned it will also be monitoring ethics in professions. Should we expect this council, for example, to every day turn the front page of the Point newspaper and call the editor management? Well, I have observed that you have reported that a Nigerian or a Gambian or what is then, so the council is suggesting that this is inappropriate, this violates the courts, or will the council only act when a complaint is brought forward?
That's an interesting question. May I have a copy of that paper? So the council will be very proactive, in the sense that it wouldn't be a Machiavellian system with a hatchet and wanting to smart at all times. The council will be proactive in the sense that they will rigorously engage the media community in terms of ethical standards. But the model that we have in the Gambia is not just about the council, it's a full package, and we're going to work on that. We're saying that self-regulation starts with an individual. That's why at the level of the GPU, we provided a code of conduct for everyone. And we toured the entire country and distributed these copies, so that every media house gets copies, every journalist gets a copy. So that they get to read it and they get to understand it and they get to apply it in their work. And then, apart from that launching of the code and also popularizing it, now we are saying at media house level, from the individual level, you go to media house level. We realized that there was a tradition in the Gambia, for example, before, when you open a newspaper like this, you see the editorial here. Yeah. Just beside the editorial, there was a column which, people will say, if anyone feels offended by our publication or you disagree with something, please write to the editor, and they provide an email or they provide a telephone. Now those kind of columns disappeared. And that is a self-regulatory mechanism internally in every newsroom. Now, even in the broadcast sector, Fatou can, for example, start a program to say, this program is meant for the audience. If you've watched or listened to any of our programs and you're dissatisfied, please call on this particular program and tell us. That is a self-regulatory mechanism. So that when you reach at the national level, where the council is, you wouldn't even have more complaints. You will have very little complaints. So it's a full package from the individual level to internal level in the newsrooms, and also to national level. And even internal level, apart from promoting mechanisms like this, what we're also trying to do is to encourage media houses to come up with editorial guidelines, because we are aware that not more than 3 media houses in the Gambia actually have editorial guidelines or ethical guidelines. Most of their employees come and they start working without knowing what even is the editorial policy or even the direction of the media house. So we're trying to help them put in place some of those structures and those measures, so that you minimize the chances of ethical breaches.
So we have been waiting so patiently for this moment. I know that our male counterparts have been trying to stop us from having this session, but this is an opportunity and we're going to jump at it. SAIKOU. So here is the thing. We know that there is a chronic problem in this country. It cuts across the country. It's about mainstreaming gender issues in all the activities that we do, in the platforms that we have, and the GPU is supposed to be a leader in that process. Very recently, when your panel has been published on social media about the Media Council event that is going to come up, I think tomorrow, it generated a debate that is very long-standing about why women have not been included on the panel. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as majority here are concerned, that is besides the point. That's not even the point. The point is having a panel or somebody, my sister Saddam would refer to as a manel, is a reflection of the general problem within the press and the media sector itself. We have had these discussions in so many of our gatherings where women do not feel like they have been encouraged to take up leadership positions or to have to climb up the ladder to the highest rank as far as the media is concerned. If you look at all the editors in all of the media houses, they are men. If you look at the composition of the GPU itself, we have very few women. And so our question is, what is the GPU doing to mainstream gender? Because we have to understand that it's not enough to just say the positions are there for the grab, everybody can just compete for them. There are structural issues that, for example, disadvantage women in relation to their male counterparts. So even though Mustafa would not agree to this, but I feel that you may have something to say about this.
The problem of gender imbalance in the country cuts across every strata of Gambian life. To be quite honest with you, I personally believe that all those concerns expressed were quite genuine. I think to some extent some of them were kind of like blown out of proportion, to be quite honest with you, because some of them don't understand the context and the struggle that we had to go through to come up with something like that. But when you look at it, GPU is one of the most gender-sensitive organizations in the country. The constitution of the GPU provides a quota system for women. It says at least 30% of the GPU executive committee must be women. How many organizations in the country actually has that? maybe very few, if there are any. The constitution of this media council also says that at least 30% of it should be women, besides the fact that there should be a female representative. I mean, that is GPU applying gender lens. And when you look at all the organizations that are affiliated to the GPU, you realize that GPU is more focused on empowering the women journalists more than any other affiliate body. In fact, right now we succeeded in securing a project for women journalists so that they can train their own members so that we can have very good and quality representation of women in the media. A former GPU president actually is a woman. We realize that, I mean, like Wangari Maathai says, the higher you go, the fewer women you find in the newsrooms, and that's true. So that's why we're supporting women journalists. But this particular thing, this particular program is not just like any other conference where it's specific. It's about media council. And like I explained in one of my responses in the tweets, when you look at the facilitators, there was supposed to be a woman because this GPU executive realized that what we have today doesn't start today. I mean, it's a recognition on our part that the previous executive members of the GPU or the previous administration worked on this. So we want to recognize that effort. So that's why we say all the facilitators must be former GPU presidents. All the facilitators. And that's why Ndita was supposed to be there, but she couldn't be there because she traveled. In terms of the speakers, there was very little we could control there. Because the Minister for Justice should launch, because of our engagements, should launch the Media Council. And unfortunately or unfortunately, the Minister for Justice happens to be a man. The Minister for Information should launch the Professional Journalism card. Fortunately or unfortunately, that person is also a man. We have the GPU president who should be there, obviously. Fortunately or unfortunately, also a man. We have, of course, Madi Jowade there, who is not invited in his capacity as Madi. But Madi is a partner. You know, when donors put their money, they want to have a say in your program. That's why Madi is coming in. And unfortunately, we even spoke to Madi. He's the only guy at Westminster Foundation. So he would have loved to delegate a woman to come. Uncle Charna is someone who we all know speaks. I mean, and he is the one. He has been one of the champions of media councils. At every meeting we have, he will say, if you don't regulate yourself, we will regulate you. You know, we recognize that we need to have at least a veteran to come in and talk about the efforts that have been done before. So it was very, very tight. It was very, very tight. And I can guarantee you what, that I will, many people wouldn't believe, but I'm a feminist. I'm a true believer. I'm a true believer of it.
Yeah. I get the point, and this is the reason why when I was opening this discussion, I mentioned that the panel itself is besides the point. It just manifests what the problems are there behind the podium. My point is, this offers us a national debate. Like it offers the opportunity for us to sit down and really discuss what is happening. If you have, for example, you wanted a justice minister, you wanted a media minister, you wanted all these people, and they all happen to be men. And that raises the question of what is really happening. Why do we have men in the highest positions and women have to be the followers? And now, since it opens up this opportunity, you have a platform, the Gambia media has a platform. There are so many women in the media, especially nowadays, who are very innovative for bringing in new ideas into this sector. And so it begs the question of what is going to be a new role, because it's not about the numbers. Like I'm not an advocate of, include that woman there, or throw in that person there because they are a woman. I want to have a scenario where we have women substantially adding value to every activity.
And that's the question we ask ourselves when putting up this thing. We thought of like amazing women in the media who are doing fantastic work. But then when we talk about media council, Mr. Chairman said, we ask it, on what basis are we going to put someone there? Is it just because they are women? Or
now we're speaking beyond the panel. Yeah. Now let's speak beyond the panel.
Okay.
Yes, speaking beyond the panel, we understand that these problems started a long time ago. The fact that you could not even bring out somebody who can be put in that panel without having to think about why they should be there means that the opportunities that the men who are now in that position to call on that panel had, those women may not have those opportunities. Now moving forward, what are your plans? Because we have to recognize from this point that there is a problem. right?
Mm-hmm.
You as a person, do you accept that there is a problem with women representation?
A huge problem.
Okay.
I keep saying in the Gambian media, it's a reflection of what Wangari Maathai says. I mean, when you look at the bottom rank of journalists, most of the times the people you meet are women.
Yeah.
But we say the higher you go, the fewer you find there.
Why do you think that's the case?
And that's because there has been this systematic discrimination, and marginalization of women in the newsrooms. I mean, we know that there are problems.
You mentioned marginalization. Can we talk about it a little bit? You guys in the media.
We're quickly running out of time.
Well, the thing is that, this is my opinion also. I mean, we have discrimination deep-rooted, marginalization deep-rooted in the Gambia that we cannot address. And my opinion has always been that we have to start with the media, because the media is the one that informs and educates people. Now, if the media is not liberated, now the Gambian women wouldn't be liberated. And the problems that Gambian women, media women or female journalists are facing in the news is a reflection of what everyone is facing. And that's why their chances of promotion is quite limited. And that's because, media is a very intense profession. I mean, most of the times promotions and those kind of stuff comes through your performance. It's like an oath. And then some media owners, of course, will give consideration to men more than women. If, for example, there is protest here, and then, these are kind of award-winning stuff, or there's gross human rights violation, this are award-winning stuff, and then you look around and then you see Mustafa and you see, hey Mustafa, you're the man, go. You understand? So when Mustafa covers those kind of substantial studies, and not necessarily soft news, stuff, then Mustafa's chances of broadening his knowledge, of getting the chances of promotion will be higher than a woman. So, when you look at television, for example, most of the times you see appearing before the television are women. So we've reduced the role of women in the newsroom to just, broadcasters. Yeah, decoration, they just broadcasting. But it's way beyond that. So you can be at that level and then having that beautiful face. So it's like there has been a beautification of media services. So, and that is to the detriment of women in the media. So, but it's a problem. It's very inherent. And then
so I am very happy that, unlike Mustafa and my brother here, that you acknowledge that these problems exist and you have diagnosed these problems for us. Now, moving forward, what do you hope that the council will do to really change this behavior that is happening, favoring men over women, to bring them to...
it will be the role of the GPU, because 2019, the GPU's resolution...
How can it...
2019, the GPU's resolution is going to be more about welfare issues. And we are going to, in fact, we have a project to do, a study on sexual harassment and discrimination in the media. We've got a project to do that, and we're going to also develop a policy, a gender policy that we hope every media house will embrace. So there's going to be an intense campaign on the promotion of the welfare and well-being of women in the Gambia.
Do you have in place, for example, specific programs that are going to, or trainings that are going to target women to boost their confidence level, to bring them to a level where they can match?
So the project that we actually gave to the women journalists to implement, and that is so crucial because they are the only ones who have that opportunity for now. A lot of affiliates don't have office, so we have created an office for them in our office. Apart from that, we've given them $100,000, so that they can sustain themselves. But we've also given them $22,000 project, and that project is meant to build the capacity women journalists only. So we're going to have a partnership with the GPU school where women journalists who are interested in that kind of training will undergo a 4-month capacity building program so that their chances of getting promotion and improving their standards will be higher.
Thank you very much, SAIKOU JAMMEH. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. It was quite insightful. And thank you, Nimasata, for actually projecting the point where we talk about women inclusion in whatever aspect of work we find ourselves. And just to clarify something, we women are just not for beautification, but we are ready to work and work really hard to prove ourselves. Now to the next segment of the show, which is the hotspot. I'll be taking you to Asu's restaurant located at Fajara. It is bubbly. When I say bubbly, it is. Let's watch.
My name is Ashu. I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm equally a chef. I'm a cook. I love cooking. Apart from being a lawyer, I'm from Cameroon. That's it. Ashu's restaurant. Ashu's restaurant. Cameroon cuisine. Well, we do basically traditional African food, precisely Cameroon cuisine. We do, our main dish is grilled fish, the original African, traditional African grilled fish, what we used to eat in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s, not what we have today. So it's done on the fire. And then we equally have chicken brochette. We have Cameroonian dishes such as ndolé and plantains and yams. We equally have ehu and fufu. We have fufu and ogbono soup. I don't call it draw. Draw is like they're trying to modernize. It's fufu and ogbono soup. We equally have rice and beans, that's kidney beans, and a host of other foods. We equally make Gambian dishes such as benachin. We do that once a week though, and then we do chikiasa. So basically that's what we do. But we're more concentrated on the fish, or grilled fish, traditional African grilled fish. Yeah. Well, this place is so peculiar because it is traditional. It is done the African way. We do it on charcoal. You know, we do not do it, in the oven or in the microwave. We make it so that when you eat, you have that feeling that this is food that was made by a grandmother or some auntie in the village. So that's my intention to do. So if you come here, what you taste, you won't find it anywhere in the Gambia. You will not find it anywhere in the Gambia. Yeah, that's the truth. Like the ndolé we have is practically, I think, the best. Yeah, Cameroonians around, the Gambians around who have come here who ask for 5 plates, 6 plates, they will tell you that it's so unique. The taste is so different from what you get from these modern restaurants around. So that is it. My intention was just to make it simple like that. Wow, that question, well, it's the hottest, all right, because first, it just started 1 month ago, and we've had close to more than 150 people visiting, new faces every day. You know, people will stand and call, please, I want my fish right now, please, I want to eat now. Big boys in town come around, big directors in ministries come around, military men come around, yeah, ambassadors come here, they always sit around here. On Sundays, you see most of this government people come sit on this particular table, to enjoy the local way of doing it. So that's just, and I believe you've been getting the waves, that grilled fish. I call it Ashu's fish because some just call it Ashu's fish because it tastes that particular way, unique way. So that's it. It's so easy to locate this place. Once you get to the Fajara War Cemetery, you find a Aladdin mini market. In between the Fajara War Cemetery and the mini market, there is a street that goes right up. You can, about 150 meters, you just see a small roundabout, and then you turn left. That's the place. It's a green and white paint, small, but nice and beautiful. So you can just come. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the hottest place in town, Ashu's Cuisine, Ashu's Restaurant. If you've never tasted good food, just come and have the feeling. Here we eat, we cook what we eat, and we eat what we cook. That's what makes it so unique. In law, we say it makes it sui generis. So here is sui generis. So just come and taste the food. Come and taste our grilled fish. Come and taste our chicken brochette. Come and taste our Cameroon dole and our ero, everything. You will never ever regret coming here. And when you come, I'll bet you will come the second time.
Welcome to Ashu's Restaurant. It's a Cameroonian restaurant here in the Gambia, and we're here to provide all delicacies that Cameroon has, like ero, dole, bongo, jansa stew, koki, all Cameroonian dishes you can think of. We provide it here. We also do Gambian dishes like benachi, domoda, I hope I pronounced it well, in honor of our host country, the Gambia. But we are more focused on grilled fish and chicken brochette, like you've never seen before in the Gambia. The taste is, I can't even explain it. Like, you just have to come and taste in order to know what I'm talking about. You can ask various people that have come here. They really know how it's like, and I bet you they're going to recommend this restaurant to you.
Welcome back after visiting Ashu's Restaurant. Still reminding our viewers that this is the brunch here on Kerr Fatou with me, JAMMEH. And of course, we have SAIKOU JAMMEH, who is the Secretary General of the Gambia Press Union. I have something special. SAIKOU, are you ready?
Well, I'm not sure.
This is called the moment of truth. Are you ready for this?
Well, fire away. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm ready for anything.
These are just questions that are part of you, so just relax. Just calm down. Are you calm now?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So my first question reads, ta-ta. What 3 words best describes SAIKOU?
What?
What 3 words best describes SAIKOU?
3 words.
Just 3 words.
3 words.
No sentences.
Crazy.
Crazy.
I don't know. Slow.
Uneasy.
Slow.
Smiley.
Smiley. Thank you. Next question. Who are your heroes?
I coded my hero here. Wangari Maathai.
Wangari. Oh, all right, cool. What's the most vivid childhood memory you have?
I mean, walking the streets barefoot.
Oh, isn't that cute?
No, I think when you left Nyomi and you came to Brunch.
That would be a special.
That leads me to my next question. What is the funniest thing that ever happened to SAIKOU JAMMEH?
The funniest thing.
Funniest.
Or the funniest thing that ever happened to me. I don't know. I make jokes, but I'm not funny. I mean, I don't know what's the funniest thing.
Well, I guess you just made the funniest thing by just laughing at your own joke.
Well,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That leads me to my next question, which says, what's your favorite Gambian dish? Please don't say Benachin.
Actually, it's not. I mean, if it is Gambian, then definitely it's my favorite.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice. What is the one thing people would be surprised to know about SAIKOU JAMMEH?
One thing that people will be surprised. I think a lot of people don't know actually where I'm from. I'm from Sidanoko, Nyomi, one small village before Brunch. A lot of people see me to be some Koponka guy. Nah.
What can't you do without?
My laptop.
Your laptop? Your wife?
My laptop. My laptop is my wife.
Laptop, your wife? Girls, you have a husband out there. So that leads me to my final question. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
The next 10 years? I see myself still in media. I mean, of course, not at the GPU, but running my own empire.
interesting. And it has been a wonderful time having you in the studio. I must say I've learned, and we must applaud you for all the rigorous job you've been doing, you know, sacrificing your time in terms of media work and all of that. And we wish you and the GPU nothing but the best on tomorrow's, is it inauguration? You're inaugurating it? Launching of the Media Council. But before we take a leave of you, your final words to our viewers.
Well, my final words would be that let everyone come and celebrate this moment with us, because we're doing this in honor of a fallen hero, Deda Haidara, who was shot and killed by people that are still unknown. But of course, every evidence points to the fact that it was a state-backed thing. And we fought against the establishment of the Media Commission. This is what he has ever been propagating for, and here it is now for him.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Lamin Cham?
Yeah, I really want, I'm very keen on see how the Media
Council
works. I think it's an innovation that will be interesting to follow its work.
Yeah, I wish to, I don't know, wish for you a very nice program tomorrow, but I also hope that we have more people like SAIKOU JAMMEH who are gender sensitive and always push women affairs, both at GPU and the council, and less of like the likes of Mustafa.
I'm very gender sensitive, very.
All right, thank you.
Tafa?
Yeah, I'm not so good at closing stuff, but anyway, I'm glad to be here, and I will be here next week. I'm not dying.
Thank you very much. And to you, our viewers, we want to thank you for always clinging on your favorite show, which is The Brunch, with me, Joy Wama. And do have the most beautiful Christmas celebration to come. Bye.
Buying a plot can be easy, or maybe a tedious task sometimes, especially when you have so many real estate companies, agents, landowners, and even sometimes so-called landlords all calling to buy their properties. Getting the land is the easiest part, but owning the land with genuine documentation is the problem. We have seen unprecedented court cases of people going to court to settle land issues. If you're looking to buy a plot or a built home with no risk of stress, guys, look for the right real estate company. At EJ Investments, we don't just sell plots, we build communities, where any plot you buy from us comes with access to water, electricity, internal roads, and other social amenities. We guarantee you genuine contract documentations the moment you pay a deposit and a complete handover of your title deeds as soon as completing payment. We currently operate 3 projects in strategic locations, selling service plots and built homes in our estate 2 Jering Seafront, Sanyang Seaview Estate, and our Gunjur Seafour Coastal Highway Estate. Our plots are affordable. From only $90,000, you can own a home at our Gunjur Seafour Coastal Highway Estate. And from $200,000, you can own a home of your dream at our Sanyang Seaview and Lakeview Estate. Our 2 Jering Seafront Estate starts from $300,000. Plot sizes ranges from 20 by 20, 20 by 25, and 25 by 25. And we offer an option of 30% deposit and 2-year payment plans on our estates. A beautiful home with peaceful and happy neighborhood awaits you at our project 2 Jering Seafront Estate, Sanyang Seaview and Lakeview Estate, and Gunjur Seafour Coastal Highway Estate. Call our office on 4464-838 or 302-1056, which is also on WhatsApp. Email us or visit our website on ejinvestments.net to learn more about our projects. EJ Investments, way fast in property.